Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a Dead by Daylight killer tier list. If you don't know how this works, basically I rank these killers from best to worst, S tier being the best and D tier being the worst. Bear in mind that this is mostly my opinion on where I think these killers are, so I don't want to hear any of this, "Why is Spirit in B tier? You should be in S tier." Fucking get over it. I'm also just going to be explaining why I put these killers where they are. And starting off with Trapper, he's too basic. Clarence is basic as well, but he can close down loops occasionally. However, I don't find his yellow bottles to be that useful. Myers is kind of a hard one to put because he can insta down survivors and occasionally worry them, but there is quite a lot of punishment within that. Sure, he can be stealthy, but I don't really find him that useful when you just have to stare at survivors for a certain amount of time. And then, going up a tier, we have the newest killer by this point, is Pinhead. With Pinhead, you have to be really good with your chains and how you use them. Because if you're chasing a survivor and you miss the hook, the survivor's going to get more distance from you. The only good thing about Pinhead is that he can passively slow down the game by making survivors go for the lament. Trickster is kind of a hard one to put because you can have good games with him. The best way to describe Trickster is a worse version of Huntress. I mean, when you think about it, he goes into lockers to reload, he's slower than most killers, and he throws stuff at survivors. Those things being the knives, and you have to hit at least, I think, 12 of them to properly down a survivor. And most games that I have, survivors do just tend to go around rocks to avoid being knifed, I guess. You have to remember something as well. I am a console player, and throwing knives at survivors isn't easy. Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but Trickster does not perform well in high-level games. Pig has quite a lot going for her, in the sense that there is a lot of RNG involved. On the bright side, her stealth is pretty good. It is kind of hard to tell where Pig would go in this list. All that Doctor really does is just make you fail skill checks, but it can be good for telling where survivors are sometimes. Personally, I find Hillbilly's chainsaw useless and only use it for getting around the map. Okay, moving up to B tier, we have Ghostface. Ghostface is essentially a better version of Myers. Ghostface is a much better stealth killer and he can stalk survivors better. That's all I need to say. With Plague, there is a lot of talk about. She can vomit on survivors, making them broken, she hits them, the survivors end up cleansing, then you go to that fountain that they cleansed on, and then you basically just get a damaging vomit. I do think she's a bit complicated, but I think B tier is best for her. With Spirit, you have to pay attention to a lot of things, especially when you're in your phasing. You have to watch out for blood marks, or let's say if you're in a cold wind farm, you have to watch out for core movement. You gotta watch out for a lot of stuff. Also, you do have to predict where the survivor is going if you're chasing them, because they leave scratch marks, but they don't exactly follow up to them, so you kind of have to go ahead of the scratch marks in order to catch them off guard. Now, don't get me wrong, Freddy is a very boring killer, but he's actually pretty good. Half of the time, you are a stealth killer, and you can close down loops pretty easily. Also, good little bonus is that you can teleport to a gen. With Legion, obviously you're good at injuring survivors, but when you have to down them, it's not the best. Unless if by some miracle they forget to mend. Wraith does two things well, stealth and movement. Now, I should be putting Leatherface higher, but whenever I play him, I do tend to fuck up the chainsaw sweep and just hit a rock. One word. Camper. Nemesis, I feel like, is very good around loops if you use your tentacle strike correctly. Also, I think the zombies just makes them very fun. Twins has a lot of potential. For instance, Victor can be like a sort of radar if you're struggling to find survivors. He's also pretty good with downing survivors or even injuring them. Pyramid Head is very good with closing down loops and also catching survivors off guard. Death Slinger could be slow, but he's very good at getting hits. Now, you can do a lot with Demogorgon. If used correctly, his shred can be deadly. His portals are a nice bonus where you can just travel around the map. Also, this is something I like to do when playing Demogorgon. You can place your portal near a hex totem and you can kind of protect it in a sense. I think there's three words to describe Huntress. Trickster, but better. Moving up to S tier, we have Blight. Blight is fast. What else is there need to say? Now, Oni's pretty shit at the start, but trust me, once he gets to work, mate, you're fucked. I do think that Oni is one of the best killers in the game, and I'm not just saying that because I made him, but he can instant down survivors, he can move really fast, and he's just a beast. And finishing off this tier list, we have the Nurse. Nurse literally says fuck you to pallets, walls, windows, etc. The only downside with Nurse is that you're not gonna catch a survivor in a straight line. You kind of have to teleport because she is the slowest killer in the game. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and feel free to leave a comment if you feel like some of these placements are incorrect. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.